Chapter 27. Unknown Mystery of Life.
Part 1.
1. Awareness and the mind have only finite capability. They cannot be aware of the infinite, the Almighty. 2. Sooner or later, one will understand that breath is existence, and the gap between consecutive breaths is enlightenment to the self. Basically, existence is a meaningless periphery over the mystery of the unknown. Furthermore, death and living have no relevance. These are mere existence. 3. Remembering God is basically serving God. To search for a path in the desert of life is not a problem, but to reach the destination, an oasis, is the real issue in life. There is never partial achievement in the temple of God. It is either full or nil. 4. The void always turns into a crisis. Crisis is the crucifixion of the self. Everyone is a Christ unless we die to that past and pain. There is no resurrection. Resurrection is the Christ consciousness. Life always offers a choice, but crisis overrules it. 5. True faith acts as a flower in life, but fear is always a thorn. It always pricks. However, in the true flower of love, separation acts as a real sustaining factor to move peacefully. 6. Pain in life must be taken as a passing experience. But constant awareness of pain is a defeat in life. No pain in life is a total loss, and no gain is a total gain. All is relative. 7. Faith can definitely be created if one looks within for the unknown forces. One will be amazed. 8. Every thought that persecutes takes away a chunk of energy, which comes from the unknown. However, strength is inherited from the known. It is relative. But energy is a divine gift from the unknown. 9. Life is not a proposition of loss and gain in vertical traversal, but it is fundamentally true in horizontal traversal and well-being. However, ultimately, material and mental gain have no place. One must die to his belongings, to his dependence, and to his mind. To be self-realized, one must learn to die before he finally dies or leaves his body. 10. One must not be eager for recognition of his talents by others. One must not keep a balance sheet of loss and profit, or of pain and pleasure, for the spiritual vertical journey in life. 11. Life force, mind, and perception must turn into a unified field of dynamic silence to get the merging of your light circle into the apex light. 12. Unless one is prepared to accommodate and show due respect to the higher values of life, the very hope of the survival of humanity shall get buried. 13. One will experience in life sooner or later that fate is a paradox of circumstances, but fortune is an uninvited guest. It comes on its own by a mysterious path, unknowingly. Fame is basically the outcome virtue of fortune. This may be termed as destiny, and it is not made by desires. It is by the wish of the Almighty. 14. Without patience, nothing can be achieved in life. Without effort, nothing can get fulfilled. Without God's grace, nothing happens. That is why God's judgment is mysterious, beyond the concept of the human mind. 15. Since everything is created by the Almighty, it is part of Him. The only way He could give a created being the feeling of individuality or separateness is through Maya, a cosmic illusion. 16. The cosmic delusive force is Satan. It is created by God. Satan is working through disease, mental sorrows, and satiety. If God destroys Satan, it means he is going against his own power. 17. Earth, water, air, fire, etc. are different states of divine vibrations. 18. One will never see faults in others in life if the same seeds of faults do not exist in him. This is the law of nature. 19. Matter is frozen energy, or rather, the frozen consciousness of God. However, life force is semi-consciousness. 20. An ideal wife should be wise like an elephant, pure like a dove, loyal like a dog, affectionate and home-loving like a pigeon, and sweet like a nightingale. 21. It is a physiological and psychological fact that consciousness and energy must be drawn up through the spine into the medulla oblongata in order to merge into the infinite cosmic energy for self-realization. During its travel to infinity, it passes through the coccygeal, sacral, lumbar, dorsal, and cervical centers before going to the medulla. 22. Only higher spiritual experiences can withdraw mental energy from the temptations of sex. In other words, when the Kundalini current passes through the brain, the desire for sex disappears. 23. Due to the manifestation of vibrations in body elements comprising earth, water, fire, air, and ether, liking for different tastes and colors, of sweet or yellow, sour or white, red or sour, blue or sour, and bitter or extremely sour, are gradually developed, respectively. 24. As waves are part of the ocean, so matter is part of the frozen spirit, only its amplitude and frequency of vibration vary. Everything is a transformation from one form to another. What one loses in finite life, he gets in the chamber of infinity. Life is in changing form like water, ice, and steam. Change and expansion of consciousness are required to perceive oneness in manyness. 25. As often as we think wrongly, the whisper in the temple of silence and wisdom guides us to the right path, which leads to thee. One who seeks prosperity for themselves only becomes poor with time. seeking prosperity for the complete world will take him to thee. 26. In general, intelligent people are born poor, and mentally unhealthy people are born rich in prosperous families. 27. It is well known that our physical body is just materialized energy. If so, then how could energy be sick? It should not be sick. If it is sick, then it is a clear indication of improper distribution of energy and should be rectified by various means of allocating energy properly. Also, after many years of deep understanding and various means and practices, one can learn how to be healthy by contacting and trapping cosmic energy. The means and tactics are to spiritualize the atoms of the body so as to get rid of diseases. Once the life force is separated from the body, integrated with the cosmic energy, and reabsorbed in the body, finally, this will make the body healthy with vitality and grace. Human consciousness, which is located in the body, and Christ consciousness, which is between the eyebrows in the center of the forehead, can, with appropriate means, be used to channel the life force. 28. When one enjoys vast internal joy within himself, then he is in cosmic consciousness and does not depend on external means for his joy and happiness. When one does everything for the joy of others without any selfish motives, then he also enjoys cosmic consciousness and touches the hearty feelings of others. The extended state of this consciousness without effort is the superconsciousness state, and this can take him easily afterwards to the Christ consciousness, which is the light of intuition. 29. There is a deep-rooted karmic reason for chronic ill health and repeated failures in life. One must tense and relax, exhale several times as and when fear comes at any occasion in life. Under no condition must one infringe upon the rights of others. It must be known that if an opportunity comes, then it must have been created sometime in the past by the self alone. One can himself realize that if one contacts God first, then everything will follow without problems. 30. Meditation is the missing link between religion and realization. One cannot effectively meditate without quieting the breath flow, heart, and lungs. Contracting muscles of the chest and then tensing them again helps to release energy, which can be channeled for meditation. 31. The life force can assimilate oxygen more quickly in the body than liquids and solids. Also, a person while fasting can charge his body with electrons and free energy from the air, and even more by certain breathing exercises. 32. When one is relaxed, then oxygen and blood are not required in that part of the body which is under relaxation. Under these conditions, that part of the body survives by getting life force from the cosmos coming down from the medulla oblongata. 33. In Savikalpa Samadhi, one is only aware of God, whereas in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, one is aware of both God and the universe. It is the state when eyes are half opened and half closed. 34. A liberated person lives in the world, but he is not of the world. A liberated man joyously, consciously, fearlessly, and painlessly leaves the body without any attachment. He annihilates the mind when he is alive. With all this, he is never insincere. 35. It is unbelievable for most of us that a man dies when life force retires from the spine, brain, and particularly from the medulla oblongata, and then the decay of the body continues. Basically, the cessation of heartbeats and breath is not the initial symbol of death. These follow afterwards. The auditory faculty or listening goes last of all in dying men. Life force is retained in any of the 7 centers before it leaves. It leaves from the muscles first, but as the life force leaves the body, there is a transition of the soul from the physical body to the astral body. Death is a physical metaphysical experience. Only the enlightened one rejoices in the freedom of the soul leaving the body through the medulla. 36. It is better in life to be unhappy because of your ignorance than to die happily with it. One must not go to the extreme of anything in life, neither spirituality nor material gains. Adopt the middle path. Mind, matter, etc. all are vibrations of different and complex patterns. To wish and to will have also frequencies with different phases and amplitudes. Higher will is the will of God, and that is the most powerful. 37. One must contact God in the temple of silence, only then will health, prosperity, and wisdom be added. Meditation is the only way to go back to God. For any good work, one must feel that God is working through you. The magnetic power of God in plants contacts carbon dioxide, water, and sun rays to grow and give fruits. 38. If one thinks constantly of God or chants His name, spiritual magnetism is created like the passage of electricity creating magnetism. By this, one becomes a divine magnet. This magnetism generates love for God in him and vice versa. Love creates or exchanges magnetism for God. It is this magnetism and flow of current in thoughts which acts on chemicals in the body that charges the battery of human life. Various thoughts are produced as vibrations of the power of this magnetic energy. In fact, words are vibrations of these thoughts. In a pure mind and heart, thoughts and words are closely linked or coordinated. 39. Mere repetition without understanding the deep meaning of mantras or incantations does not produce results. It is effective when one is totally merged in the vibrations of mantras and listens to them deeply with the depth of the mind. This increases spiritual sensitivity, and only then does individual consciousness project into space and into the hearts of other human beings. 40. On reforming the self, one can reform thousands around him. As one progresses in divine communication, he will easily go on well with everybody. As one comes closer to existence, the changelessness, then all divine qualities are added to him. One must get answers to all queries from himself, only then will he be accomplished and prosperous. 41. All our actions are governed by certain laws. Nothing happens in our destinies just by chance, or because of circumstances outside us. To some extent, we can trace our own cause and effect experiences by introspection and impersonal analysis. We all are children of God, but unfortunately, we have chosen to play the role of beggars in our lives. 42. Dreams signify the state of one's consciousness. One must adjust his waking thoughts and actions if he wants to improve his dreams. Most of the time, life energy is withdrawn when one dreams, so he does not remember dreams. 43. Evil tendencies from prenatal existence and bad company have the worst influences on human conduct. Under these conditions, God responds through laws and not through blind prayers. 44. A worn-out body can rejuvenate by changing its atomic vibrations. Condensed atomic energy is given to the body by pure food. Fingers act as antennae, and one can feel the energy flowing into them. 45. Relaxation, when it precedes meditation, is the way to the infinite. God, being a candle flame, cannot withstand the gust of restlessness. When the storm of breath is stopped, ripples of all types of sensations will vanish. And this experience, which is not forgotten, is ours. The experience that is forgotten cannot be ours. It is just a memory. 46. Life is a wave of electrons and atoms, a wave of protoplasm, a wave of power, and consciousness. Life is composed of electrons, life force, intelligence, and soul.